Stimulus-based multiple choice questions. You either love them or you hate them. I'm just kidding, everybody hates them. They're confusing, they take too long, and they are the source of endless AP exam season anxiety. But they don't have to be, and so in this video I'm going to help you understand how to approach these questions, and if you follow my advice you will almost certainly improve. Because you can't get a 5 on that exam without doing fairly well on those multiple choice questions, which makes up 40% of your score. So let's figure it out, and everything I'm about to say applies to AP Euro, AP US, and AP World. So if you're ready to get them brain cows milked, let's get to it. Okay, so first let's talk about the time. You'll have 55 of these questions and you'll have 55 minutes to complete them, which if you carry the 1 and multiply it by the sine wave is roughly 1 minute per question. And here's what you may be forgetting. The people who make these tests know how long you have for this section. And that is important to remember because that means that they're not expecting you to spend hours poring over these documents and coming to a deep understanding about them. You've got to read them fairly quickly and just get the gist. And if that's what you're currently doing and it feels like you're doing it wrong, well, you're not, because that is all you have time for. Okay, second, let's talk order of operations, which is to say what is the first, second, and third thing you should do with every one of these questions. And pay attention here because your instinct is probably to do things in the exact opposite way that I'm about to show you. So when you open to a question, your instinct is to read the stimulus first and then skip this part entirely and then start reading through the questions. But if you do it that way, you are surely going to run out of time and fail your exam, drop out of school, and then have to live in a van down by the river. So here is the proper order of operations that is going to keep you on task. First, read the question. Now, I know you're going to be tempted to read that stimulus first, but restrain thyself. If you read the question first, then you know what you need to look for in the stimulus, and that is going to save you time. Second, read the attribution. Like this little line right here is not throwaway text. It's going to give you some really valuable information, including the time period you need to be thinking about and the people or entities involved in the stimulus. And then third, read the stimulus. And when you do, read it quickly, marking whatever you think might help you answer the question that you've already read. Okay, third, now that you've read and interpreted the stimulus, it's time to answer the question. You'll have 4 possible answers to choose from, and those answers will be one of 3 species. You're going to have 2 obviously wrong answers, and the reason that they're wrong is because they're in a different time period than the question is asking about, which is most common, or they're giving you a different historical thinking skill than the question asked about, which is less common. What I mean is, if the question asks you about how events in the stimulus caused a change in something, then obviously the wrong answer could indicate a continuity, which is to say, not a change. And then there's what's called a distractor, which is a diabolical invention conceived in the deep blackness of the College Board exam writing heart. This is an answer that is often factually correct, but ultimately doesn't answer the question that they're asking and is there only to distract you. Squirrel. And then finally, there's the right answer. So the first thing you need to do is to eliminate the 2 obviously wrong answers. And here's where I take a moment for a parenthetical remark. Like, I know it's easy for me to say eliminate the obviously wrong answers. Like, I've been teaching these courses for a long time and the obviously wrong answers jump out at me immediately. But unless you have just flat out mastered the content of this course, then what I say are obviously wrong answers are not going to be so obvious to you. And so the remedy for that is twofold, and they both have to do with studying. First, let me emphasize yet again that there is no substitute for knowing the content of your course. Get those vocabulary words firmly stuffed into your brain folds, and that is going to go a long way. Second, you need to arrange those concepts in the time periods of the course. If you know what vocabulary goes in what period, then the obviously wrong answers will become more obvious because you'll know that they're trying to trick you with the wrong time period. Okay, parenthesis close. Okay, now all of that is higher level strategy, and now I'm going to give you a few ground level tactical tips for the multiple choice section in general. First, answer all the questions. Blank circles get no credit, but if you fill in a circle, hey, you got a 25% chance that it's right. Second, don't change your answer unless you are 100% sure that you put down the wrong answer. And I know that's scary, but go with your gut here and it's going to serve you better than overthinking it. Plus, you don't have time to overthink it, so listen to that gut. It's the Transcontinental Railroad. Thanks, gut. Third, if you're not convinced of what I just said, then hear this. You don't have to do as well in these questions as you think you do in order to score a 5. Now, the percentages do change every year, and of course, there are 3 other sections on the exam to factor in, but in general, those students who score in the mid-70s on the multiple choice are on their way to a 5. In the wider high school world, a 75 isn't something to shout from the rooftops. C's get degrees! They sure do, but in AP exam world, oh baby, if you get a 75, you just won. Okay, multiple choice is only one section on the exam, so you need to click here next to figure out how to write those essays. And if you're feeling saucy, you can click here if you want a bunch of practice multiple choice questions with explanations for the answers, which is real helpful when you're studying. So good luck on that exam, and I'll catch you on the flip-flop. Heimler out.